They kicked me out of Mom's anniversary party for my cheap clothes. I stood there in my simple black dress, watching as security dragged me across the marble floor of the hotel lobby. My sister Amanda's laughter echoed behind me, sharp and cruel. "Next time, dress like you belong here," she called out, her designer heels clicking against the floor as she turned away. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just straightened my dress and walked to my car, a modest Toyota that had seen better days. As I sat in the driver's seat, my phone buzzed. A message from my assistant. "Ms. Peters, the papers are ready. Should I proceed?" "Yes," I typed back, my fingers steady despite the anger burning in my chest. "Deliver them now." You see, I wasn't just some broke failure in a cheap dress. I was Sarah Peters, CEO of Vista Properties, and I had just bought the entire hotel chain where my family was celebrating. They just didn't know it yet. But let me start from the beginning. 3 years ago, I was the family disappointment, the middle child who couldn't quite measure up to Amanda's flashy success or my younger brother David's charm. I worked quietly, lived modestly, and saved every penny while they flaunted their designer labels and luxury cars. Mom always said I was living below my potential. Dad would sigh and ask when I was going to get a real job instead of playing entrepreneur with my small real estate ventures. They didn't know that while Amanda was buying Louis Vuitton bags with her corporate credit card, I was buying up properties across the city. "Sarah, honey," Mom would say during our weekly family dinners, "wouldn't you be happier working at Amanda's firm? They're always hiring in the mailroom." The table would erupt in laughter, led by Amanda's theatrical giggle. I endured it all. Every snide comment, every backhanded compliment, every invitation that came with a dress code I supposedly couldn't afford to meet. I watched as they praised Amanda for her junior executive position, cooing over her leased BMW and rented luxury apartment. What they didn't know was that I owned the building Amanda lived in. I owned several buildings in the city's most prestigious districts. But I kept quiet, lived simply, and built my empire in silence. Then came Mom's 60th anniversary party. Amanda insisted on hosting it at the Grand Palmer Hotel, the city's most exclusive venue. "It's members only," she announced at Sunday dinner, shooting me a smirk. "But don't worry, Sarah. I'm sure we can get you in as a family guest." I knew what was coming. Amanda had planned it perfectly. The dress code was luxury formal. The invitation specifically mentioned designer attire required. She knew I wouldn't show up in Gucci or Prada. She was counting on it. The night of the party, I arrived in my simple black dress, well made, but not designer. The security guard at the door looked at me skeptically, but my name was on the list. I made it as far as the lobby before Amanda spotted me. "Oh my God," she gasped, loud enough for heads to turn. "Sarah, you can't be serious. This is a high-class event. Look at yourself." Mom and Dad appeared behind her, both dressed to the nines. Mom's face fell when she saw me. "Oh, Sarah," she sighed, that familiar disappointment clouding her features. "We were very clear about the dress code." "I'm dressed appropriately," I said calmly. "The dress is clean, professional, and it's embarrassing," Amanda cut in. "You're embarrassing us. This isn't some strip mall office party. There are important people here." "More important than family?" I asked quietly. Dad shifted uncomfortably, but Amanda wasn't finished. "Security," she called out, waving to the uniformed men by the door. "This woman isn't dressed to code. She needs to leave." "I'm your sister," I said, still keeping my voice level. "This is Mom's anniversary." "And you're ruining it," Amanda snapped. "Like you ruin everything with your cheap, pathetic attempts to fit in. Just go, Sarah. Go back to your little apartment and your boring life, and stop trying to be something you're not." The security guards approached, looking uncomfortable. "Ma'am, we need you to come with us." I looked at Mom and Dad, but they just stood there, silent and ashamed. Amanda's smile was triumphant as the guards escorted me out. What happened next would change everything. As I sat in my car, my assistant Jennifer sent me the confirmation. The purchase of Palmer Hotels International had been finalized that morning. I owned it all, every luxury hotel in their chain, including the one my family was standing in. "Deliver the papers," I texted back. "Make sure my sister receives them personally." 20 minutes later, Jennifer walked into the anniversary party. I watched through the security cameras on my phone as she approached my family, elegant in her tailored suit. "Ms. Amanda Peters, Jennifer's voice was professional, cool. I have some documents that require immediate attention. Amanda waved her off, irritated by the interruption. I'm at a private event. Whatever it is can wait until Monday. I'm afraid it can't, Jennifer replied, opening her briefcase. By order of Vista Properties, new owner of Palmer Hotels International, I'm serving you with an eviction notice. You have 30 days to vacate your apartment at 1220 Riverside Drive. The color drained from Amanda's face. What? That's impossible. I have a lease. The building has been sold, Jennifer continued, her voice carrying across the now silent room. The new owner is terminating all current leases. Here's your copy of the notice. You'll see it's signed by our CEO, Sarah Peters. The gasp that went through the room was audible. Mom grabbed Dad's arm for support. Amanda snatched the papers, her hands shaking as she read. This can't be real, she stammered. Sarah? Our Sarah? Yes, Ms. Peters. Sarah Peters has been acquiring properties throughout the city for the past 3 years. She now owns this hotel, your apartment building, and approximately 60% of the luxury real estate in the downtown area. I watched as Amanda's perfectly made-up face crumpled. Mom sank into a nearby chair, Dad's mouth hanging open in shock. The wealthy guests they'd been so eager to impress were whispering, pointing, pulling out their phones to look up Vista Properties. Jennifer wasn't finished. Additionally, as the new owner, Ms. Peters has updated the hotel's dress code policy. It now states that no guest shall be discriminated against based on their choice of attire, as long as it's clean and appropriate. She believes class isn't determined by designer labels. The irony was delicious. The very hotel that had kicked me out now belonged to me. The sister who'd mocked my clothes was being evicted from an apartment I owned. The parents who'd dismissed my career were learning that their unsuccessful daughter was one of the city's largest property owners. My phone buzzed again. Amanda calling. I declined it. Then Mom, decline. Dad, decline. They had years to support me, to treat me with basic respect. Instead, they'd chosen to judge me by my clothes, my car, my apparent lack of status. I drove home to my modest apartment. Yes, I still lived simply despite my success. My phone kept buzzing with messages. Amanda. Sarah, please, I'm sorry. I didn't know. You can't evict me. Mom. Honey, we need to talk. Why didn't you tell us? Dad. Princess, call me back. We had no idea you were so successful. I turned off my phone and poured myself a glass of wine. Tomorrow, I'd deal with the fallout. Tomorrow, I'd decide whether to show mercy or let them learn the hard way that appearances aren't everything. Tomorrow, I face my family not as the disappointment they always seen, but as the successful businesswoman I'd become. But tonight, I savored the quiet satisfaction of knowing that sometimes, the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served with an eviction notice and a lesson in humility. The security cameras showed my family leaving the party early, their celebration ruined by the revelation. Amanda was crying, her mascara running. Mom looked shell-shocked. Dad kept shaking his head, probably calculating just how much his unsuccessful daughter was now worth. As I sipped my wine, I couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the cheap dress wins after all. The next morning, I walked into my office at Vista Properties, a sleek glass building I had acquired 2 years ago. My cheap clothes were actually tailored business attire. Expensive but understated. I never saw the point in flashy labels when quality speaks for itself. Jennifer met me at the elevator. Your family has been calling the office since 6 a.m., she reported, handing me a coffee. Your sister tried to come up, but security stopped her. She's currently in the lobby, refusing to leave. I checked the lobby cameras on my tablet. There was Amanda still in yesterday's designer dress, makeup smeared, looking nothing like the polished executive she claimed to be. The sight should have brought me satisfaction, but instead, I felt the hollow sort of sadness. Send her up, I said finally, but alert security to stay close. Minutes later, Amanda burst into my office, her eyes wild. How could you? She shrieked. How could you hide this from us, from me? I looked at her calmly from behind my desk. Hide what exactly? My success. You never asked about it. You were too busy mocking my lifestyle to notice what I was building. But you let us think you were struggling. You lived in that tiny apartment, drove that old car. I lived within my means and invested wisely, I corrected. Something you might want to learn about. considering your credit card debt. She paled. How did you? I own the building you live in, Amanda. I've seen your rental application, your financial records. 6 maxed out credit cards, late payments on your BMW, barely making rent despite your executive salary. That's private information, she sputtered. And my net worth was private until you decided to humiliate me at Mom's party. I replied, funny how that works. Amanda collapsed into a chair, her designer purse sliding to the floor. Please, she whispered. Please don't evict me. That building, it's everything. My friends live there. My clients see me there. It's my status. Status? I laughed softly. You mean the status you're financing with debt? The status that made you think it was okay to have security drag your own sister out of a family celebration. Tears streaked down her face. I'm sorry. I was jealous, okay. Is that what you want to hear? I was jealous because you seemed so content with your simple life while I was killing myself trying to maintain an image. That made me pause. Jealous? Of what you thought was a struggling business owner. Of your freedom, she burst out. You never cared what people thought. You lived how you wanted, worked how you wanted. Do you know how much I hate my corporate job? How much I hate pretending to be this perfect executive? I studied my sister, really looked at her for the first time in years. Behind the designer clothes and perfect makeup, she looked exhausted, broken. The eviction notice, I said slowly, was meant to teach you a lesson. But maybe there's a better way. Hope flickered in her eyes. What do you mean? Vista Properties is expanding. We need someone to manage our luxury residential portfolio. Someone who understands high-end clients and properties. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering you a chance, I corrected. To work hard, learn the business from the ground up, and maybe find something real beneath all that designer facade. But there are conditions. She sat up straighter. Anything. First, you take financial management classes. No more living beyond your means. Second, you start therapy to work through whatever drives this need for status and appearance. And third, I leaned forward, you publicly apologize for last night. To me, in front of the same people who watched you humiliate me. Amanda's lip trembled. You're not evicting me. Depends on whether you accept these terms. The choice is yours. Keep pretending to be something you're not, or start building something real. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, when can I start? Just then, my office door burst open again. Mom and Dad rushed in, both looking like they hadn't slept. Sarah, Mom cried, we've been trying to reach you. I held up a hand. I'm in a business meeting with a potential new employee. You'll need to schedule an appointment. Dad's face reddened. Now see here, young lady. No, I cut him off. You see here. This is my company, my building, my rules. If you want to talk, you'll do it professionally, not by barging into my office like you have the right. They froze, unused to this version of their unsuccessful daughter. Amanda actually smiled, a small, genuine smile I hadn't seen in years. Mom, Dad, she said quietly. Sarah's right. We need to do this properly. All of us. I picked up my phone. Jennifer, please schedule a family meeting for tomorrow evening and send up the employment contract for our new residential portfolio manager. As my parents were escorted out by security, looking shell-shocked all over again, Amanda stayed behind. I really am sorry, she said softly, not just because you turned out to be successful, but because I was a terrible sister. Prove it, I replied. Not with words. With actions. She nodded, straightening her shoulders. I will. And Sarah, that black dress you wore last night, it was actually perfect. Simple, elegant, classic. Like you. As she left my office, I felt something shift. Maybe, just maybe, there was hope for my family after all. But first, they needed to learn that true worth isn't measured in designer labels or luxury cars. It's built quietly, steadily, one careful decision at a time. I turned to my window, looking out at the city skyline, my skyline, in many ways. Tomorrow's family meeting would be interesting, to say the least. But for now, I had an empire to run. And this time, they were all paying attention. The family meeting was set for 7 p.m. in my office's main conference room. I had deliberately chosen this setting, sleek, professional, powerful, to establish the new dynamic. No more family dinners where they could dismiss me. No more casual settings for their condescension. I arrived early, reviewing documents with Jennifer while watching the security feed. Mom and Dad arrived first, both overdressed, as if compensating for something. Mom kept touching her pearl necklace nervously. Dad's eyes widened at the view from the 45th floor. Amanda arrived exactly on time, transformed from yesterday's emotional wreck. She wore a simple blue blazer and tailored pants, expensive but not flashy. She'd been reading the employee handbook I'd given her. "They're all here," Jennifer announced. "Give me 5 minutes, then send them in." I used those minutes to center myself, remembering every dismissive comment, every mockery of my little business, every time they'd made me feel small. But this wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about reconstruction. The door opened. They filed in like chastened schoolchildren, taking seats at the massive conference table. Amanda sat up straight, already adopting a professional demeanor. Mom couldn't stop staring at the awards lining the walls. Industry recognition I'd never mentioned at family dinners. "Thank you for coming," I began, my voice cool and controlled. "We're here to discuss recent events and establish new parameters for our relationship moving forward." "Honey," Mom interrupted, "can't we just talk like family? Like we did at your anniversary party?" I raised an eyebrow. "No, Mom, that dynamic is over. You want it successful. Here it is. This is who I am: CEO, property developer, business owner. Not the family disappointment you could laugh at over dinner." Dad shifted uncomfortably. "Princess, we never meet." "You did." I cut him off. Every comment about my clothes, my car, my lifestyle. Every suggestion that I should beg Amanda for a mailroom job. You meant all of it. You just never imagined it would backfire. Silence fell. Amanda looked at her hands, shame coloring her cheeks. "But," I continued, "I'm willing to build something new. If you're willing to earn it." "Earn it?" Mom's voice trembled. "We're your parents." "Yes, and parenthood isn't a free pass for cruelty. So here's how this works. Amanda has accepted a position with Vista Properties, contingent on meeting certain conditions. She's choosing growth over pride. The question is, what will you choose?" I pressed a button, and Jennifer entered with folders, distributing them to my parents. "Inside, you'll find documentation of every dismissive comment, every instance of mockery, every time you chose status over support. Security footage from the anniversary party. Witness statements from family friends who watched you tear me down for years. And finally, a contract." Dad opened his folder with shaking hands. "A contract? For what?" "For being part of my life moving forward. There are conditions. First, you'll both attend family therapy separately and together. Second, you'll take financial literacy courses. Third, you'll perform community service at homeless shelters and poverty support organizations. Maybe helping people who actually struggle will teach you the empathy you lack." "This is ridiculous," Dad exploded. "We don't need therapy or charity work. We need our daughter back." "Your daughter grew up," I replied calmly. "She built an empire while you were busy criticizing her clothes. Now you get to decide, do you want to be part of that empire, or do you want to cling to your outdated prejudices?" Mom was crying silently, mascara streaking down her cheeks. "We were wrong," she whispered. "So wrong. I see that now." "Seeing isn't enough," I said, gentler now. "You need to understand why you were wrong, why your values were skewed, why you treated your own daughter like she was worthless just because she didn't fit your materialistic ideals." Amanda spoke up, her voice strong. "They need to change, like I'm trying to change. We all got lost in this facade of success, measuring everything by brands and appearances. Sarah was the only one smart enough to see through it." I nodded at my sister, acknowledging her growth. "You have 24 hours to decide. Sign a contract, commit to the conditions, and we can build a new relationship. Refuse, and we maintain a purely professional connection. Tenant to landlord, nothing more." 24 hours? Dad protested. "To decide the future of our family? You decided the future of our family in 20 seconds when you watched security drag me out of Mom's party." I reminded him. "I'm giving you more time than you gave me." Standing, I gathered my papers. "Jennifer will show you out. Amanda, stay behind. We have orientation paperwork to complete." As my parents left, looking shell-shocked once again, I caught Mom glancing back. For the first time, I saw something new in her eyes. Not disappointment, not judgment, but respect. Amanda waited until they were gone before speaking. They'll sign, she said confidently. They're terrified of losing you now that they know who you really are. It's not about who I am, I corrected. It's about who they need to become. Real change isn't easy, but it's necessary. Like me taking financial management classes in therapy, she smiled wryly. Exactly like that. Speaking of which, your first therapy appointment is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Don't be late. As I watched Amanda leave for her new office, a small but respectable space where she earned her way up, I felt a weight lifting. This wasn't the ending I'd imagined when I started building my empire in silence. It was better. Because sometimes true success isn't just about proving people wrong. It's about giving them the chance to become right. Jennifer appeared in the doorway. Your next meeting is in 10 minutes. The Palmer Hotel's board is waiting. I straightened my simple but elegant blazer, checked my practical but expensive watch, and smiled. Time to run my empire, on my terms, in my clothes, with my values. The labels didn't matter. The power did. 24 hours passed like a countdown to revolution. At exactly 6:59 p.m., Jennifer brought me 2 sealed envelopes, my parents' responses to the contract. I waited until I was alone to open them. The first was from Mom, her elegant handwriting filling 3 pages. My dearest Sarah, I couldn't sleep last night. I kept thinking about every time I made you feel less than the amazing woman you are. Every dismissive comment, every comparison to Amanda, every time I valued appearance over substance. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. I've already scheduled my first therapy appointment. Your father resisted, but he's agreed to come too. We've also signed up for the financial literacy course at the community college. It's humbling to admit we need these lessons, but perhaps that's exactly what we needed, humility. The contract is signed, not because we're afraid of losing access to your success, but because we want to earn back the right to be your parents. Real parents who support and celebrate their child for who she is, not what she wears or drives. Love, Mom. Dad's letter was shorter, more direct. Sarah, I was an idiot. A proud, stubborn idiot who couldn't see past his own prejudices. Watching you command that conference room yesterday, confident, powerful, completely in control, I realized I never really knew my own daughter. I want to know her now. Contract signed. Tell me where to start. Dad. Both signed contracts were properly executed, every condition accepted. I sat back in my chair, emotions warring in my chest. This was more than I'd expected. More than just compliance, it looked like genuine understanding. My office phone buzzed. Miss Peters, Amanda's here with her first weekly progress report. Send her in. Amanda entered, carrying a folder and looking professional in a modest but stylish outfit. First therapy session completed, she reported, handing me the counselor's sign-off. Also, I've analyzed the residential portfolio you assigned me, found some interesting patterns in tenant behavior and rental trends. I gestured for her to sit. Tell me. For the next 30 minutes, she presented a thorough analysis that showed genuine effort and insight. No shortcuts, no relying on charm or status. Just solid work. One more thing, she added hesitantly. I've put my designer clothes up for sale online, using the money to pay down my credit cards like the financial advisor suggested. Good. I nodded. Actions, not words. Mom and Dad signed, didn't they? She asked quietly. Yes. We're really doing this? Becoming a real family? We're trying, I corrected. It's a process. My phone buzzed again. Mrs. Peters is in the lobby. She said she's here for her volunteer shift at the homeless shelter and wondered if you'd like to join her. I looked at Amanda. She smiled. Go, she said. I've got work to finish anyway. In the lobby, Mom stood nervously in casual clothes, probably the least expensive outfit she'd worn in years. When she saw me, her eyes filled with tears. I wasn't sure you'd come, she admitted. I wasn't sure you'd actually volunteer, I countered. I meant what I wrote, she said softly. I want to earn back my daughter. We drove to the shelter in my car, still the same modest Toyota. Mom didn't comment on it. Instead, she asked about my business, really listening for the first time. At the shelter, we served meals side by side. I watched my mother, who once refused to eat at restaurants without Michelin stars, gently serving soup to people who had nothing. Something was changing. Later that night, I sat in my office reviewing the day. Amanda's progress report showed promise. Mom's humility at the shelter felt genuine. Dad's therapy appointment was confirmed for tomorrow. My empire was still standing, stronger than ever. But now, something else was being built alongside it. A family foundation based on respect, understanding, and genuine value. Jennifer brought in my evening coffee. Your family's different, she observed. All of them. They're trying, I said. And you? Are you happy with this outcome? I looked out at the city lights, remembering the sting of rejection, the burn of their mockery, the sweet satisfaction of revelation, and now the unexpected warmth of reconstruction. I realized. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all, it's growth. The night grew late, but I stayed in my office, watching my city glitter below. Tomorrow there would be more meetings, more decisions, more empire building. But tonight I savored a different kind of success. They kicked me out of a party for my cheap clothes. But in doing so, they'd forced open the door to real change. Sometimes being thrown out is just the universe's way of showing you where you truly belong. At your own table, in your own tower, in your own clothes, on your own terms. And if others want to join you there, let them earn their seat.